Good day and welcome back to another DBZ Dokkan Battle video. In this video we're going to be taking a look at the TEQ Yajirobe unit and seeing just how good he is and 55% in the hidden potential system. Now Yajirobe is a pretty interesting unit. So he's one of those pure support units which is really good. You know, the game needs these kind of units. And Yajirobe's kit is pretty impressive. So, he's an Earthbred Fighters lead, that's neither here nor there. He massively raises defense, which means he doubles his defense, causes supreme damage to the enemy and seals their super attack. Now he has Ki plus 3, attack and defense of 150%. He gives all allies Ki plus 1 and attack and defense of 30%, plus an additional Ki plus 1 and attack and defense of 20% for all allies for 3 turns, plus an additional 120% defense when the character is the third to obtain Ki spheres in a turn. So he applies a 3-turn 20% buff every time he collects Ki spheres in the third slot, which is pretty impressive if you think about it. He also has an additional attack and defense of 150% and a great chance of performing a critical hit when performing a super attack as the third attacker in the turn, and he has a great chance of evading the enemy's attack, including super attack, within the same turn after receiving an attack as the third attacker in the turn, which is again pretty good. He can survive KO attacks up to once within a turn, and he recovers 10% HP at the end of the turn. He fully recovers HP and removes all negative effects when he uses his active skill, which can be activated when HP is 40% or less with an Earthbred Fighters category unit on his team. And Flee more than meets the eye, coward, solid support, infighter, tough as nails, and fierce battle RS links, and he's on Earthlings, Saviors, Saiyan Saga, and Earthbred Fighters. Now he's a very difficult unit to measure. I'm going to show you him here, not in the third slot, and you're going to get a pretty good idea of why you don't want to put him in any slot beyond the third slot. But because he's a unit that thrives solely in the third slot, because he gains so many buffs based on getting his Ki in the third slot, and because he doesn't really showcase any raw stats before that, it's very difficult to actually measure how good he looks. It's very difficult to kind of say, okay, he looks really solid defensively, because you don't really see his defense. You know, it's one of those things where, as a unit, not that it's hidden, but it requires you to understand calculating in the maths of Dokkan. But the thing is, his defense gets to a pretty decent clip. He has 70k defense, basically flat. If you stick him in the third slot, he gets an additional 120% defense. So how that works is essentially his defense goes from 70k to around about the 110, 120k mark, which is very good. On top of that as well, he then doubles that defense with his massively raising defense. So he, in 55%, gets to around the 250 to 260k mark after super, which is pretty good. On top of that as well, he also has a crit chance, he also has that evasion chance, and in general he's a really solid unit. But the big thing is the 20% buff for 3 turns, and on top of that the turn he's in gets an extra 30% as well. So he's not only a 50% support for the turns that he exists in, but he's also a 20% support for the turns he's not even in himself, which is pretty good. So Yajirobe's really solid from that perspective. The only real thing holding Yajirobe back is that he only gains his evasion after receiving a hit as the third attacker, which means things like AoE attacks can hurt him quite a bit. An AoE attack will set him back a little bit, but honestly speaking, this guy provides so much in terms of raw utility that I don't really see an issue. Yes, there are situations whereby him taking on content with AoE attacks is going to give him some issues. But like, he has a heal, he has evasion, he has critical hits built in, he has 50% support on rotation, 20% support after rotation. His defense after super is really solid, and yeah, I just find in general he's really good. Because he is predominantly a third slot unit though, you really don't want to prioritize his links at all. His links are not something that's super duper like important. His links are not something that I would say are super crucial to his performance as a unit. You having him at level 10 links is not going to matter that much, because realistically speaking, you're not going to prioritize him ever linking with anyone. Like, yes, when he's on rotation, he'll maybe link for that turn with the unit in the second slot, but the unit in the second slot's very rarely going to have a link set that's going to pair well with Yajirobe. The big thing with Yajirobe, for me, in terms of build, probably looking at going for either additionals, if you want to rely on his tanking after he supers, or you want to go for evasion, if you want to give him some kind of mitigation for what is occurring before super attack. So in light of the recent AoE content, going evasion does give him some kind of defensive mechanism against AoE attacks before he supers. But with that being said, I think overall he's just really, really good. He's a really fun support to use, and he brings a lot to the table. And with Earthbred Fighters being such a strong team, and with basically it being one of the top teams in the game, I think personally speaking, Yajirobe is a great choice. And if you've got him, give him a try, because you may be very pleasantly surprised by how good he can facilitate your team and really beef up all of those units. But yeah, that's basically going to be it for me. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, leave a like, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.